Hello, and welcome back to the Dokkan battle video. So, I talked about this kind of stuff a little bit in like when we actually talked about Cell's details, but I want to make like a full video on like my ideas as to how to set up this Cell for like actual success, because I feel like out of all of the Dokkan Fests recently, he's the one that kind of needs it the most. Especially when we consider his team. Now, again, we talked about this a little bit for a couple minutes while I was doing his details and breaking down him and showing you guys his category, right? This category and his team and his leader skill is legitimately really, really bad, right? It does not flow well together. The majority of these characters are either super class or extreme class characters that do not have big bad bosses, and the ones that do have big bad bosses don't link up well with Cell, right? So it's not a category that really functions properly. So Cell, in order to actually run him effectively as a Dokkan Festival leader, is going to need help, like badly, especially when we consider the fact that his intro condition, which is something that you kind of really want to have, is locked behind a team being tournament participants. Now, I did pull up the tournament participants category. Look at this stuff. None of these characters really link up well with Cell besides like Bojack, right? And other Cells. So while I think Cell himself is quite good, like he has a lot of things that he can eventually like access and use, like there's so much wrong with him that I feel like we need to talk about this, and so that we can kind of theorize and like piece together how the hell this is gonna work out. Now, I did bring up last year's April Fool's celebration, right? Topo's. Now, Topo had a lot of stuff going for him, right? Not only did he have, well, his banner unit was terrible, but he had an Easy A, a Super Easy A, and a Part 2 LR, and then a bunch of Sub Easy A's, right? A bunch of Sub Easy A's from all these ones. He had his Super Easy A with Tech Go Tanks. He had a regular Easy A with Int Go Tanks, right? And then he had a Part 2 LR in the Ginyu, LR Ginyu Force, right? So they did a good job in setting him up for success by giving him a bunch of stuff that he has access to, right? Basically, a full special post team. Now, granted, the special post team still wasn't very good, but he did at least have things around him that helped. Cell is going to need that. And we currently have some stuff that they showed off already that is going to be coming for content. They didn't show everything, obviously, because the actual celebration hasn't started yet. I do expect it to start on the 1st, like immediately on the 1st, which right now it is the 30th, the day I'm recording this. So tonight we should see the data download. Tomorrow, Cell will be in the game. That kind of thing, right? So looking at all this, currently we know there's going to be a new support memory. That doesn't help Cell, because the majority of the time, I mean, sure, you can use that, but it doesn't really matter that much. The Para brothers are easy-aing. That doesn't help Cell at all. They're not on tournament participants or worldwide chaos. A new Daima stage isn't going to help him at all. Easy for this Hercule support memory is not going to help him at all. And the drop rates for the Bulma event are not going to help him at all. Now, knowing that this is going to be like the April Fool's celebration, we have consistently gotten a new April Fool's event with either a new character, a new support memory, something new, right? Now, I have an idea that could potentially help Cell depending on how they do it, and that is for the April Fool's event to be this guy, right? This is parody Cell from when, the thing that Mr. Satan uses so that people think that he killed Cell, right? If they make this guy and they give him Cell links and Cell categories very similar to like the 8-bit Goku, I think that could be like a decent like free-to-play support option to help Cell out. He would be a new named character. He could potentially have like Attack of the Clones and all that, whatever, right? Because he's supposed to be Cell, like, hey, this is Cell, even though it's literally just a guy in a costume, right? I think that this is like potentially something that we can use to help Cell's team, because one, it needs it, and badly. So that could be something that helps. I doubt it, but you never know, right? Looking at the tournament participants category, there isn't really a whole lot of options for Easy A, Sub Easy A's, that kind of thing, right? I did bring up the Easy A charts so that we can see it. The oldest one is Angel Frieza from the Tournament of Power. I don't want Angel Frieza to EZA here. He is not on the 250% 220, right? We can look at it right here. You can clearly see that he's not on it. Where would he be? He would be like right here in this section, right? And as you can see, he's not there, right? Very clearly, he's not there. Would not want him to EZA here. That would be bad for like a regular EZA. If we're doing what I hope, which is a regular EZA and a super EZA, because that's what Topo got last year. Again, purely based on what Topo got last year, we would want AGL Cell. AGL Cell is the perfect thing for him because they share 6 out of 7 links once he's in his perfect form. You can make AGL Cell's first few forms stackers. You can give him more dodge. You can give him all this stuff. The point where he can help out a lot, right? AGL Cell would dramatically power up this team. Not only, again, is he a modern unit, right? So he's going to have at least the workings of a pretty solid kit. The only problem with him is that he needs to be fighting multiple enemies or whatever. I think they could very clearly like lower this and make this a lot easier to obtain. That way he's actually like usable for those first few turns. I think that would help a lot, right? And then once he is, you know, perfect cell or cell perfect form, they would link up really, really well. You can make this guy really strong, potentially a slot 1 character for the new cell, and it'd be fine. It'd be great. Looking at the super EZAs, the only one that they could potentially do here that would help is STR cell. But again, the problem with STR cell, which we did talk about in the other video, right, is STR cell and Tech cell. Where is Tech cell? Tech cell's right here, right? These guys are both just perfect cell. So one of them would have to be going into slot 1 so that you can run 2 of them, right? Or they would be on separate rotations. That is the only way that you can have these guys both be relevant at the same time, is if one of them was good enough to go into slot 1. Or potentially we have other options that can go slot 3, right? This Tech cell, though, being a support unit, I would want to be able to float this guy around so that he's going to be constantly helping every single like rotation, right? He is also really, really strong. He has his damage reduction. He has all this stuff, and he's double overchanging, right? He's very good. Very, very good. This would be a great time for him. I do not want him to be immediately outclassed by this guy, especially if they're both going to be like slot 2 characters. It's not going to work, right? Not going to work at all. Now, this guy is also a nuker. Got to keep that in mind. But he also stacks. So the potential here is that this STR cell is hopefully like, okay, what's the best way to make this guy? You give him like guard, give him the ability to get an additional super attack after like receiving or evading an attack, right? Make his stacks better. Maybe give him a little bit of damage reduction in slot 1 or something like that. Make this guy the slot 1 tank, so that way the new cell, right, this guy, can be in slot 2, because realistically, he is only going to be that tanky for like slot 1 if he has his revive passive active, where he's going to have 65% damage reduction against super attacks. If he doesn't have that up, he's not going to be going to slot 1. He's just not happening, right? So having this guy be the slot 1 character, and then having this one be a slot 3 floating support, so that way he's going to be able to support both of the other STR cells, is going to be good. Very, very good. Again, that just means, though, that we kind of do need to have AGL cell be really crazy. That's just kind of how it is. There really isn't any ifs, ands, or buts about that. He needs to be kind of ridiculous. So that's like the hope there, that at the bare minimum we get an EZA for AGL cell and an super EZA for STR cell. Now, some of you might say, oh, but they're probably not going to split up with dual DOKKANFEST. Literally, in the celebration that happened last year, that is what they did, with the fact that Gotenks EZA'd without Tech Buhan. Now, or not Tech Buhan, Tech Super Buu. But Tech Super Buu did EZA literally like a few weeks later during the Golden Week celebration anyway, right? So, which makes me think, okay, well, yeah, okay, if AGL Cell does EZA here, do we have a way to EZA the Goku and Gohan very soon? Which I think probably no, unless they give us something else like Super Saiyan adjacent. I don't see him EZA. You know what I mean? Right? So it's getting kind of awkward. Very, very awkward. Now, if we look at Worldwide Chaos, right? Worldwide Chaos is the category that could potentially help sell a lot. It's just the fact that a lot of these characters aren't on his 220 unless they're androids. So the option is there, theoretically, for the tech androids to EZA here. I would not want that purely because they are not a big bad boss character, right? Cell would want big bad boss partners. They are not that. They would not be helpful, right? That's just what I'm thinking. Now, if we're thinking potentially super EZAs, though, right? Or not super EZAs, sub EZAs. STR Cell, right? STR second form Cell would be a great option. Why am I doing it here? We can just do it over here, right? Second form Cell, great option. This guy, I don't even think has an EZA, right? Yeah, I guess theoretically they could do Angel Cell. Not that we have a whole lot of other World Wars. Are these guys on anything even remotely close? Nah, they're not even on the team. Yeah, so definitely not this guy, right? Because he's not even on here. Angel Cell? Yeah, no, he's not. Yeah, so yeah, definitely not that guy, I guess. Right. Though he is somebody's sub-EZA. Let's just not think about that right now. Right. There's not a whole lot in here for other cells that could potentially get a sub-EZA for other events. Maybe... Dude, it's like, this is like really hard. It has, like, second form Cell would have to EZA and be very good. Right? That would help a lot. You could potentially do... Who even is on here that doesn't have an EZA? Because he's not helpful. He's not helpful, probably. Not that he would EZA here anyway. It doesn't make any damn sense. It's like, it really is the only option for this team is, I guess, second form Cell. What if we look down here, right? What is there anything in here that helps him? Like, at all? The Bojacks, I guess, could help. Right? These super old Bojacks, they could be interesting. Though I would prefer if they EZA'd during a Bojack celebration, having the Bojack movie Gohan as well. So that doesn't help really at all. Anything else here even remotely relevant? Not really. No. Worldwide Chaos. Equally, there's nothing here. It's just not a very good setup. So our only options to make Cell good, right? Super EZA STR Cell. EZA AGL Cell, right? Sub EZA second form Cell. Already at 3 premium, basically premium characters that would be really, really helpful. Summonable characters that are really great. Now, there is the potential for a Part 2 LR. Remember, the Part 2 LR last year had nothing to do with Topo. I thought we were going to get like Evolution Blue Vegeta or like Jiren or something. We got the Ginyu Force. But however, the Ginyu Force were direct support for Topo. Now, if you want to go back and say, oh, what about during Kale's celebration? She got Super Boo. Technically, Super Boo was a buff for Kale because Super Boo was on her leader skill. So if we want to go and think about characters on this character's leader skill that could potentially get a brand new LR, there's not a whole lot of options. Sure, we could potentially get a new Bojack, but again, I would like for that to be during a Bojack Super Saiyan 2 Gohan celebration where we get a new Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, new Bojack. We could potentially get a Bye Guys Goku, right? The only problem with that is I don't think that Cell and Bye Guys Goku are really going to link up too well. They could definitely do it, but not something that I would want. And then Worldwide Chaos, you really don't have a whole lot of either. You can do a new androids, you can do tag androids, right? As like a Part 2, like Gold Coin LR, that could work. You could potentially do second form Cell as an LR. That would be okay, I guess. Right? A transforming second form Cell, maybe, and probably not. But it's something. We already have a first form Cell LR in the tech one. I doubt he's gonna get a new card. Especially because we already have the DOKKANFEST. Like, I don't think they're gonna give us 2 new first form Cells in the same celebration. It's probably not gonna be like that. So there really isn't a whole lot. If this is where we get the Kid Wu LR, that's gonna be terrible. Just pointing that out. But there's like not a whole lot for Cell. And that makes it really awkward. So that's just like personally like my thoughts that I think there's ways we can do this, but I don't know how without royally screwing over a potential future celebration, right? If you give us Bye Guys Goku here, it doesn't really help Cell at all because he's going to be more of a superclass character that's going to work a lot better with the fusions. And he's going to work with Cell. If you give us Kid Buu here, that's just annoying. It would help, but it would be annoying. The best one would probably be tag androids, right? That could help. I saw someone mention, what about 16? The thing about 16 is in 16 on tournament participants? He is. You could make it a 16 from this moment, right? A brand new Android 16. Potentially make that guy a slot 1 character, right? Where he's just incredibly tanky. The only problem is he's like a super class character, right? Not that it really matters for Cell's domain, but like it's not perfect. It doesn't match up perfectly, mainly because of links. So you could do a part 2 LR16. I think people would be okay with that. We already have an LR16 that exists already, so it's like they've done it before. They couldn't just. There's no reason for them not to do it again. You know what I mean? Right? So it's possible, right? Make it like an absolutely gargantuan tank 16 that can like. Actually, you know what would be really cool for 16? Make him a turbo tank that massively stacks attack, and then have him an active skill where he blows up. Because one of the biggest things about Cell, right? He obviously needs to die. So what you could do is have a 16 who massively stacks attack and blows himself up to do a bunch of damage to your health bar, but like nukes the boss. And then when you return on the next turn, you just throw Cell slot 1, he dies, you revive, and you have the Cell revive passive going. I think that could be a cool concept. Would it be like perfect? No, but I think it'd be kind of cool, right? So those are my thoughts. Do let me know what you guys think could potentially help this Cell. Again, my choices are Super Easy A, and then regular Easy A, brand new Sub Easy A here, maybe an LR16 as the Part 2 LR. Buff this category, give us like an April Fool's parody Cell, help him out as much as possible, so that way our only extreme, like true extreme class character of the first half of the year so far isn't just completely left dead in the water. That's my hope. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye bye.